4 days, they have to go cover firearms and use of force and first aid. In 4 days of training, there's options for 4 more areas. It's not clear, this is the information we should probably be getting, is that they can do diversity and ethics training, emergency vehicle operation, defense tactics, and new technology. And it seems to me that we need to know if the diversity and ethics training, in particular the defense tactics, how many of the officers have received that training. Because is it their option that they get to take that? But that means that they only get it maybe once every 2 years. And in 4 days of training, it seems to me that the diversity and ethics training and defense tactics should be there every year as opposed to every other year, or the options every year. So this may not necessarily be covered, need to be covered in the contract, because I believe the contract has to do with the hours of training, not necessarily the content. And that needs to be clarified. But I think there's some room to figure out what's being actually received in the training by the officers, and secondly, to pursue greater coverage of those areas in the training that each officer receives every year. So we need to do some follow-up.
So Julie, perhaps great suggestion. What we can do is let's just ask what the training is and describe it and we provide it to the public. And then let's go a little deeper to say what's mandatory, what's optional, as Councilmember Licata talked about, what sort of and then let's actually look at and see what the training is. I've been told that many of the public may not have a great realization for some of the kinds of training that is being done. And then let's be candid, there's a big, huge disconnect when we say we're investing in doing all this training and we see some of the films and the incidents that we see, and we're saying, well, we're not all training. So that's the credibility I think we have to gain through this. So let's look at the training, let's do a list of it, we'll make it public. And I suppose that, again, I'll furnish this to the through the Public Safety Committee to see where the gaps are and to get some explanations on what's the sort of the perceived gap on what we're seeing.
Let me follow up also. You know, when we talk about one of the major areas being defensive tactics, de-escalation training is critical. And then I just noticed that that's actually natural now. That has to be in there.
Yeah, I just want to add that that would be appreciated if the public could see the types of training that the police receives. But I also want to draw attention to the fact that you are talking about a lot of training here, training, and just like you just mentioned, when we see the incidents of the stalking by the Latino man, a few months back, and then the punching of the African American woman, and now the shooting of John T. Williams, we ask naturally, what happened, to all of that training? The thing that I guess that I feel that may be lacking in that is that it may not necessarily just be a training thing, but an experience thing, because we're talking about if we are going to be quite frank, that this is a racial issue, that we're talking about compassion, and this is a heart issue. And I don't really understand or see how you can train somebody on that when it's a heart issue. The one thing that I do feel strongly that, and I heard it being mentioned down here at the table here, is the experiences, because experiences helps to change people's minds and perceptions and hearts. And if I could quickly, I want to tell you guys about some of the things that happens. My mom is a school teacher at the Seattle Public Schools. She's one of maybe 24, 25 Native teachers. One of the things that happens in a couple of the schools, not all, but in Seattle schools, which I think is really great, actually in some of them, and even one in Muckleshoot, is that children will come down and they have this experience with the homeless community where they spend the night at shelters. They work in the shelters, they're there at night, they up and out of there early in the morning at 6 a.m. They come down to Chief Seattle Club, they go to Angela's, they go to a variety of different places, and they're doing this in the effort to help to bring awareness, and they're giving them experiences, actual experiences that helps to change their mind and their perception about people and communities and things that they had a lot of biases about. I want to also tell you about some of the, I guess, attitudes or behavior of some of the Seattle police officers even after this incident, and where we're observing that there doesn't seem to be much, and I'm not saying this for all officers, but we have reports from individuals of that there not being any remorse or sensitivity or showing of any sympathy by officers, just random police officers since this shooting. And that concerns me as well, because again, it comes back to the compassion and heart thing. You know, where is the compassion? If you know, even a little child, you don't even have to know somebody to know or to feel compassion or sympathy for someone when a person has died. And even a little child knows to have compassion or sympathy for someone and feel badly and to want to extend their sympathies. So why is it that the Seattle police officers haven't extended that? And again, I'm not saying this, you know, no disrespect to the police officers who have been very gracious, but there are others out there who have been pretty insensitive. So I just want to kind of draw attention to that and yeah, make note that this is a hard thing and we got to figure out how do we teach compassion.
Robert?
Yeah, if I could double dip here, and listening to all these beautiful statements and heartfelt opinions and such, and to know me is to know that I'm a peacemaker, and coming here today is how do I, you know, speak from that platform and that part of who I am, you know, and I think I try to see both sides. You know, you as city council members, you know, it's got to be real difficult to be in your position and to field all these opinions and comments and recommendations. And as we start talking about now we're going to implement this and change that and everything, to know me is to know that I often say it always seems to be that individual, that 10% that runs it for the rest of us. And as I'm hearing this talk about this incident, I really don't think that this guy really represents what the Seattle Police Department does and is and what they're all about. I don't think that he's a good representative of the other 99% of the police force. You know, I know that my relatives talk about, and I'm a recipient and been a victim of that sort of attitude as well by the police at one time or another. And it's just, I'm not kind of losing my thought here, it's just that, that we talked about this population that is a large population of Indians that are homeless, that are out on the streets, and it's the dividends that is the payoff dividend of the boarding school. It's what that's what the payoff is. We have broken people, you know, out there, and this is the result, you know, of how our people get to these places, and so, but to know that is to know why things are. You see what I'm saying? Instead of, you know, now you're gonna have more rules, more regulations, more things to learn, more training, more hours of this, and it's because of that, those people, those dang Indians, you know, now we got to do this, John. That's why we're here, and on our weekends we got to learn this training now. It's because of that. So I think that the officers at that time, it wouldn't be so much open-mindedness or open-heartedness to learn more training. It would be more of a resentment or bitterness training, and we just got to get through this to get our badge. And I know it's a lot to ask for you and these other officers to get their badge, but that's how many worms are in the can. This incident blew the lid off the can of worms, and this is it's been on the people of color's minds for so long. You know, that these meetings have to result to something. You know, that we can't just keep talking and eventually we're going to get into it. This incident has all the fixings, the perfect storm of creating the us versus them scenario, where it is only just us in this city. They're only just us on this planet, and we need to find a way to use compassion, to use thoughtfulness, to use whatever to come up with a pretty quick end result or comment to what happened there on that sidewalk that day. I think this guy, like I said, didn't follow the procedure. The procedures might not be so bad. They might need tuning up and amended. Whereas I truly think this guy is acting, you know, pretty much on his own. You know, but that's neither here nor there. You know, that's up for the.
Well, I think what you're saying, Robert, is, you know, in any problem, you try to quantify it. You want to see if an event is isolated, and it warrants a major